Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to talk a little bit about BattleTech. Yeah, the game's coming out on the next week, and I'm fairly excited about it. I didn't talk too much about it during the development and stuff like that, but in the end I did enjoy a lot. First thing, I didn't back the game. I just pre-ordered after a while. But first, I want to talk a little bit about harebrained schemes. And one thing, I'm gonna start calling the HBS because the chance that I call studios instead of schemes is gigantic. But I really like the company because, well, out of all the products they sold, I backed three of them: Shadowrun Return, Dragonfall, and Hong Kong. And to be very honest, I'm satisfied with all the products. The first Shadowrun was okay to good, and all the others was really good in my opinion. But as I said, I play a lot of Shadowrun on the tabletop, so yeah, maybe a little bit biased. On the case of the new IPs and new stuff, for example, Golden Arcana and Necropolis, I think is the name of the other game. I kind of understood they not are the best projects. Golden Arcana was something that I didn't back, neither Necropolis, and even to this day I didn't even got interested in buying it. But as I said, beside that, I do enjoy. So it's three good products out of five. I don't think it's a bad run from HBS. So because of that, I decided to pre-order. I didn't back this time because I didn't know. Look, back when they started campaign, I didn't quite like follow the campaign, so I didn't know. After a while, I kind of lost. I didn't see for a long time. More recently, on the end of last year, then I discovered that BattleTech was a thing. And besides, I decided, well, let wait on Steam, and when it arrived to Steam, I did pre-order. Another interesting aspect is the way the HBS handle the development. They are almost very clear when they are talking about stuff, and I'm gonna go a little bit too in detail about what I think they are not so clear about it. And sorry, that was my phone. But one of the things they were very clear was their stance about modding. And why are you gonna talk about modding right now? It's because any type of complaint, like the major complaints that I have on this game, can or maybe can be fixed by modding. So there will be no modding tools officially, at least, but all the files will not be encrypted, and if you have a Notepad++, you can edit the files. One thing they said, they literally came out and said, it's like you have a wall. If you climb the wall, you'll be able to edit most of the stuff. So yeah, as I said, many of the problems can be easy solved. But since it's not gonna be officially supported by the company, it means that we're not gonna have like a Steam workshop. What we're probably gonna have a Nexus thing, and with a lot of luck, maybe Nexus will create a plugin on their mod manager to manage BattleTech. We can only hope. Now, one interesting thing is, even when they literally said the reason why are they not making modding tools to the game, a lot of people came with a lot of strange ideas. For example, from the fact they want to control mechs that will come out. For example, they don't want people creating the unseen mechs and stuff like that. But the reason was stated, and well, it's a pretty reasonable one. Creating modding tools, they believe, would take a lot of time, and they state the modding tools for Shadowrun took them almost a year of development to make and to be acceptable, to be good to use it. So I can agree with the fact that, yeah, the game already got some delays and stuff like that, so divert an entire year for modding tools would be a very problematic situation. But with the ability to have mods not so difficult, not it sucks not having an editor, but you have if you can edit the files, yeah, things will be there. You can kind of see where I'm going with it. So now let's kind of give a little bit of a background what I know about BattleTech, and the answer is not a lot. I'm coming literally new on the fucking series. My only knowledge about BattleTech is literally a roleplay tabletop campaign and a friend run like 5 years ago or so. So yeah, I don't remember much. So it's gonna be a new experience to me on the lore and stuff. And for what I see, for what I got on Steam forums, I enjoy the world building and stuff like that. Now, while Herbring to the HBS was very clear to state why they not giving mod tools to people, there was one thing that I do believe in is very strange. They were not very like they didn't communicate well. Customization was something they hyped between all the Q&As. And that's something. When I kind of discovered the game, I literally watched I think almost all the Q&As they did, the live streams. And in most of the Q&As when they decided customization would be a thing, in every single one when the question was asked, when they build hype to the thing, they literally talk about. They talk, and people would be allowed to name the pilots, name the call signs, and something like that. I don't recall they say something about the portraits, but you got the idea. Now, my problem with it is I didn't go to Paradox forums to stuff. I got my information from the Q&A, mostly sometimes from Steam forums, sometimes. And if was not for the fact that someone literally pulled the thing out of Paradox forums and placed some distinct forums, I would be believing until this day that customization on pilots would be a thing. And yeah, that's not too good. And one thing, a lot of people, I was watching Christopher Odd, and he literally said he talked about. Then there was a misconception too on the first episode, I think, trying to finding a way to name the pilots. So I think he may be on that belief too, but I don't know. And yeah, if it was not for a person, I don't remember the nickname, but the guy always signed the post on Steam forums as Chris, and I have to say this guy named Chris is amazing. The guy, he literally is the most sane guy on the Steam forums that I ever saw. He literally discuss in educated manner. The guy is a gentleman. But besides that point, let's keep going to the talk here. I do believe then would be a very good idea to openly on the next big live stream with Paradox or their Q&A. I doubt there will be one since the game's coming out like in 5 days or less. It would be a good idea they come out and say, hey, officially say, yeah, we are not going to have mod the ability to customize pilot names and portraits. A little bit of addendum here, talking about portraits. Does anyone think the portraits always kind of looks a little bit off? Not like all the portraits, like your main character. I watched 2 or 3 streamers, like literally creating the main character, I just watched the first episode of anyone. So I watched that and I don't know, it seems a little bit off, that 3D portrait that was made there. It's always you look like dumb. I don't know, it's strange. And I have to say, the hand draw 2D things are so amazing. And some characters, when you see their 3D version, they look a little bit stranger. Kamiya is one of the characters who kind of stand out of that. She looks a lot different, the 3D model, from the 2D portrait. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And this is really just a minor gripe, but yeah, I don't know. So, as I said, this is a problem for some people, the lack of customization. Because, well, this was in some way things that a lot of people, they kind of hyped, and a lot of people want that. Now, one thing to be sure, any feature we have a problem on that is the in succession word, like the phrase. Anything is possible if the game succeeds. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that becomes possible. And that should be a little bit more clarified. That's another thing that I wish they, like, set up goals. For example, yeah, in succession, these are the things that we're gonna do. This, and this. But in some ways, I do understand because maybe they don't even know what's gonna be the things. Probably they will wait a little bit while to see what people are like more wanting to, and that will be the things they will focus on to deliver in succession. But to the matter of this, another thing that was scrapped, and again, I'm going to say utilizing the mod example of how this can be solved after I play that, is the legendary mech warriors. Legendary mech warriors was scrapped. The fact is now how the mech warriors appear, they are literally generated in a similar way to the main character. So every mech warrior theoretically is literally generated from that pool, that like the selection of where you came from, what happened, and like what happened to you leave that place, and what you did after you leave. So this is gonna be what is going to generate people, create small tags under their names, and things like that. I can kinda understand the reason. Like there is a prop. There's two ways to see that. The first one is they grow so proud of the work they did on that random generation of characters, they literally kind of want that to be a thing. Or for some reason, the fact of trying to mess with that in the way they create, try to mess with that would broke something, so they decide to like lock that as an option. And for that matter of fact, the legendary mech warriors would be something who would a little bit probably interfering on that, because in my point of view, legendary mech warriors would be people that are like very important on the lore and stuff like that. So it would be like how the game would hook a legendary pilot this like instead of a normal pilot. Probably that's something like that. But thinking on modding, like I said, I do believe there is ways that the modding sim could solve that problem out of customization. Well, in my opinion, I don't have the files of the game. I don't have notion of how the game edit will work. I don't know how the engine hook the names and call signs and things like that. Probably easy way would be to find where the game stores the names of the pilots and the call signs, and edit the one you want. For example, if you want John Smith call sign Beetle Hunter, I don't know. You find the fucking thing, find the files, choose the names, and there you go. You place that name and that call sign there. And one thing, I don't know if the call signs are locked with a name. If not, if it's like, for example, a three-way thing. They take the first name, they take the surname, and they take the call sign, and then they generate the little choice thing and like where you came, what you did, what happened to you left, and what you did after you left, and that create a character. If that's so, if that would happen, a probably more difficult way maybe to mod that is if your save file is not so much encrypted, then you can find where is the hook of your Mac words on your save file, and maybe you would have the capability of editing the name. Because one thing I know they said is there is a way to change the company logo, like utilize a personalized one. To that effect, you would need to find where they archive the emblems they have. Open a file, open a file like one of the ones they use it, one of the ones they created. Edit the file to place in with the image that you want, and there you go. You have your own personalized emblem out of to your company. So that's what I'm saying with. As I said, many of the complaints that I kinda maybe probably have can be easily solved as mods. And to be far honest, out of my point of view, the only biggest complaints that I do have is kind of the fact the lack of communication. They strip the feature, not the fact that the feature isn't there, but the fact that they kind of have a lot of time to like say, "Yo, people, I'm kind of sorry we didn't have enough time to develop that fucking feature, so we're gonna scrap and use that." So I do believe that it would be a very good if they come out and say, "Hey, we changed that because of this and that reason." On the post, yeah, they kind of said then would take like a month or so just for coding the ability to change names and develop, since because the text, like for example, and I can see that, for example, the fact of there's a lot of text involved on the name of the people, and for example some of the letters may not go well, some of the spacing may not go well, and things like that. But if they allow the capability, if mods can solve that, see you on Nexus day 5 probably. I don't know. Besides that, there's a lot of people who literally enjoy more modding a game than playing, so sometimes maybe we see some things in the beginning. Now, one thing then, that is my optimist vision. That is me saying like, that's how things happen. Development of a game costs time, costs money, and whatever. But this is the moment when I turn off my optimist mode and go to my most pessimist mode and try to not scream out of my lungs because paradox. Look, I do understand and a lot of people saying paradox is just helping on localization with marketing, so they are not putting money, quote unquote, on the game. But let us be far honest here and talk 100% sincere. Paradox are not just doing that out of the kindness of their hearts. I don't doubt they want their investment back. So yeah, in some ways they are putting money by helping in localization and helping on marketing. Because things like that cost money. And that brings me to the post-launch again. The HBS, because I would call it studios, HBS and Paradox has a little bit of a different way to see a post-launch game. Why I say that is because of their track history. Although I don't have a problem with Paradox because personally I just bought it. I like have Hearts of Iron 4, then I just buy for Kaiserreich, Stellaris, and Tyranny. These are the only fucking games that I bought from Paradox. I think there's some more, but they are not like very. I think City Skylines is another one, and City Skylines kind of piss off me a little bit by the quantity of DLCs. I think I have. I don't remember if Omerta Seed of Gangsters is their game, or if it's from another like Calypso or something like that. But you got the idea. Paradox loves DLC. Paradox love microtransactions. They love literally keep the game alive from as long as they can. And that's literally a lot different how HBS works. HBS, literally, they make a game, they in some way finish, like set up everything, make sure everything is working reasonably well, and they head on to the next project. And allow me to say, this is not a bad thing. This is the way their company needs to work because they depend on the next project. They depend to keep to have a game being selling, to acquire funds to develop the next game. Let's remember, normally, BattleTech being the exception, HBS games don't have a publisher. They normally are self-published. They normally got a run from Kickstarter, and after the Kickstarter, they release, accumulate funds, get the next project going, start building on the engine, start creating the assets, the plot line, and everything, and they run a Kickstarter, and 1 to 2 years later, they end up delivering the product. They finish the post-launch support of the game, fixing some bugs, adding features than they promised on Kickstarter, but would be delayed for a little while, and then they move on to the next. While that's a thing, that's not the way that Paradox does work. And I kind of don't know if Paradox will like try to enforce a more post-launch approach to the game. For example, maybe in 3 or 4 months later, we start to see a DLC, small bite-sized DLC, for example, 5 legendary mech warriors and a mech or 2 mechs for I don't know, 9.99, $9, $10, or $11. I don't know, something like that. Small things in the same way that Paradox utilized the Plantoids pack and the Humanoids pack for Stellaris. It's that then you cannot fully say what is gonna happen. I hope I'm wrong. I'm really hoping then HBS deliver a great game with every feature they could. Add the features for free, maybe one expansion sometime later. Similar things, maybe not even an expansion, a sequel game entirely. Although I'm not going to deny that I would pretty much love to see expansion to it. Since the engine is okay, I like the graphic of the max. I enjoy the way the terrain looks. See, the game looks great. Although I'm still having a little bit of a suspension on the fact of the I can get over the portrait of the main character. Something looks wrong with that. But I have to say, all the 2D portraits and all the 3D character, most part, except from the lady Arano, it's a little bit off. Like, it's a little bit off because you have the 2D version and you have the 3D version. That's what literally caused me a little bit off. But I think that's more personal taste. I hope they deliver a great game. I hope this game is amazing. I will be playing on day one. The moment the game unlocks on 24, I will be playing. Probably not gonna be streaming. Probably will record. I don't know. Maybe I stream. Why not? I don't stream since the last time I did a stream was on XCOM. So probably gonna stream or not, or just do a half an hour of the game and shove on YouTube as I did for many games. Maybe I do a Let's Play since I finished The Walking Dead. But man, still there is Frostpunk, another game that I wanted to watch a little bit more. But really, my hopes are then HBS succeed. My hopes are then BattleTech be so much and even more successful than Shadowrun. They were able to build BattleTech 2, BattleTech 3, build up upon the engine, made with the success of the game, we are able to get mod 2s on the next one, since they already made. I really, as I said, I really love this game succeed. But because some small things and because I'm a little bit of a pessimist sometimes, I don't know, there's stuff there I feel a little bit wrong. And mostly, it's not because HBS, even so, I know some people didn't like the way they treat the Necropolis like post-launch development, and some people I said talk a little bit bad about Golden Arcana post-launch development, but as I said, on the games that I did buy, they deliver. They deliver it, and I was happy with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's quite it. I don't know, really. Maybe I'm a little bit too much optimist about it. Maybe a little bit pessimist too, if you see the last, like only the second half. But as I said, I hope the game is a success. People on the studio, like their Q&As and their things, they show a very, very good understanding of gaming development. Not only that, but they show enthusiasm about what they do. And those are seems to be people that are really, really talented and really, really creative. So from the bottom of my heart, in the same way that I wish that XCOM 2 succeed, and I wish that .hack GU, the last free code, succeed, I'm giving the praise that I give today to that games on here. And in the same way, I did a little bit of coverage after the game being released from both XCon and .hack. I gotta do that from BattleTech because I'm pumped for that game. Come on, who cannot be excited about a game about a mechs punching each other to death? And of course, I like the idea of running my own mercenary company. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. That's gonna be it for today, and see you guys on the next video.